So, what's it going to take to save independent movie theaters? What's it going to take? Could popcorn save indie theaters? Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, and if you've been watching or listening to the Film Threat Podcast and having me pontificate every week about movies, the movie theater is my church. That is my religion. And I probably saw 2 to 3 films in a theater every week when they were open. I've been addicted to the drive-in, but there's a movie theater, an independent movie theater in Los Angeles that if you don't already know it, you had better know, which is Arena Cinelounge, which is owned by Christian Meoli, who is joining me today on the Film Threat Podcast to talk about the importance of independent theaters, to let you know about his theater, which plays some of my favorite, like, small indies that, you know, might come to VOD or something, hit your theater. Christian, welcome to the Film Threat Podcast.
Oh, Chris, thank you so much for having me.
Well, Arena Cinelounge is one of the best screening rooms in LA. It's this small, I mean, it's like you're in the ultimate living room setup, very intimate, and the kind of independent films that you champion are like incredible. Tell us a little bit about like the history of the theater and how you got into this.
Sure. I started Arena Cinelounge in 2012. I was able to take the former Egyptian 2 and 3 space that was next to the Egyptian. You know, the Egyptian theater used to be a threeplex operated by United Artists, and from 72 to 92. In 92, they walked, and American Cinematheque saved the Egyptian. The 2 and 3 were kind of left to their own. It became a place for acting. So I was able to get in there. I renovated the space. I saw that there was a need for a screen for independent films. And that was the intention from the get-go.
Well, it's interesting because I know that the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has very specific rules about eligibility to be nominated for an Oscar for documentaries and whatnot. And your space has become home to a lot of filmmakers that at least want to know that they're eligible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of filmmakers' legitimacy. They want to be considered. The only way that we were able to do that was we built out a brand new cinema about 5 blocks away from our old one, which we left. And so Arena Cinelounge now has a state-of-the-art 50-seat boutique cinema at 6464 Sunset Boulevard with all the bells and whistles.
Well, yes, and I have been to your theater. It's an amazing space. Also, you don't just show movies there. There's also you do premiere screenings. Tell me about those.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a need to create a micro version of the premiere. What premieres are at their basis are great marketing opportunities where collateral is created and then circulated and shared to help promote the film. This was direly needed in the independent landscape. We basically reverse engineered it and offer it to filmmakers and distributors and producers at a very nominal cost with very little margin for us. And they're able to accomplish it. We really hacked the system in that regard. We have getting photographers coming in. It's small, but you really capture everything you need, which is the red carpet, the step and repeat, and then the talent promoting and talking about the films.
Well, it is like, if it sounds like I'm pushing and promoting what you do, it's because I am. Because yeah, like, I don't care. I'm just blatantly like, look, I'm doing this with you because I want people to know about your space, your website, and your delicious popcorn, by the way. Thank you for this. I want to talk about your popcorn because you are using this as a way to help, stay in business. And of course, it wouldn't be a Film Threat Podcast if the leaf blowers didn't show up right outside my space right now. If you hear some crazy noise, but yeah, no, like, look, I feel like we have to support each other right now, especially artists have to support each other through what we're going through with, the dumpster fire that is 2020, right? It's been It's just, it feels like it's like one blow after another. And maybe the last thing people think about essentials. But as someone who is a moviegoer, somewhere we're like, here's the way I explain it. I'm not a foodie. I am a person that I don't care. I eat food to not die. That's why I eat food. When it comes to, if I don't watch 2, 3, 4, 5 movies a week, I feel like I would go crazy. And especially
now, do you watch each film with popcorn?
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. You know what? I can't get that habit out of me. I love popcorn. Well, we should talk about your popcorn for a second, because you started, this was just before everything happened. I remember you called me with this crazy idea, and I thought, oh my God. And then you just did the idea. And okay, not only, I have to show some of these. Please, not only is the popcorn delicious, they're all like in theme, and you're selling this as a way to continue your mission. I feel like you and I have very similar missions, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we do different things. I do a movie website and a podcast, whatever. You have a theater, but you also do podcasting and other stuff. But these flavors, I have to show some of these.
Please, yeah.
I mean, apocalypse now.
Apocalypse now. We don't want
apocalypse now. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, this is Once Upon a Time in Popcorn.
That's our Western blend.
Yeah, I love this one. Popcorn of the Living
blend.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, they're just amazing. And they're on, actually, if you can look at the website here at Arena, if you go to Arena Cinelounge, is it arenacinelounge.com?
Yeah.
So at arenacinelounge.com, you can buy popcorn. You can, is it too early to talk about this plan that you're doing right now? I want to talk about your plan to open a drive-in space behind Arena Cinelounge, so you can kind of socially distance and screen movies outdoors.
No, I mean, I'm in the midst of it. I've been talking to, it's really interesting, because what we're dealing with right now are county guidelines. We're dealing with state guidelines, county guidelines, and city guidelines. So I first went to the city. I said, I want to do a drive-in. I said, got to go to the county. Went to the county. They said, okay, you're good. You need to go back to the city. The city said, okay, now you need to go to building and safety. Maybe you need to go to Film LA. I mean, it was like, I finally got the right department, and they don't have guidelines drafted for movie theaters to go al fresco like restaurants have. They have the restaurant guidelines. So they're drafting the guidelines now because of my requests. And I'm really hopeful that we can be showing drive-in movies within 2 weeks.
Okay, well, first of all, I'll be there if that happens. Just because I'm such a fan of I've been going to the drive-in. There's like 3 drive-ins. I'm a little disappointed though. Most of the fare at these drive-ins are, it's older films or stuff that's already on like streaming. There's a couple that are showing movies that are coming out on VOD, but I feel like, cause I know that space, I've been to your theater, but that back parking lot is perfect. It's absolutely perfect to have like an outdoor screening. They have got to, I don't know what you can do to move it along and get this decided quicker, because we have to save small businesses. You and I are both small business owners.
Absolutely.
And the thing is this, here's what's even sucks more about it is when things are good, it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
It's still, like I'm pimping like Film Threats. I'm doing Film Threat t-shirts. You're selling popcorn. You gotta have like some other thing in addition to your core business. You gotta expand and get into other arenas, so to speak. I didn't mean that as a joke, but and I just think it's so important, because the types of movies, what's funny is that I would find out that I'm interviewing a filmmaker and like, oh, cool, interview you for the podcast, or we'll do something. And their movie is playing at your theater.
Yeah, I know. There's a great simpatico there.
Well, totally unplanned. It's not like, we're like, hey, are you doing this? It's just like, I think it's just similar sensibilities. Tell me how you curate a lot of the films that come to Arena Cinelounge?
A lot is based off of new releases, which is why we kind of cross streams a lot of the time. I've have great relationships with distributors who I've been exhibiting their films. I was and have been a proponent of day and date titles. I think that there is a huge misnomer out there that day and date titles are worse or less than studio equivalent titles. The only difference between them is day and dates they're sharing one marketing budget, and they're trying to put them all together, and they're not adhering to a theatrical window. So, technically, the multiplexes don't view those films as theatrical releases, which I guess they're going to be thinking the same way about Mulan now.
Well, yeah, I think the whole thing has blown up. I mean, independent film tends to be ahead of the curve anyways. What I do like about the time we're living in now is there's so much good stuff on VOD. I'm kind of in heaven with the video on demand stuff. It's not the same. It's that solitary experience. It's not the same as being in the theater. And I don't know, which, I mean, you can't repeat that energy in the room. I know they're talking about allowing some cinemas to open with like a certain reducing the capacity. Sundance just announced their plan. We'll see if it happens. Their plan is to screen things in Park City, but with theaters only at 25% capacity for social distancing. I don't know what the rules are going to be, but movie theaters are going to be hot tickets if they're going to reduce. Do you have any insight into like what the rules are on opening?
I have tons of insight. I'm
Well,
like
let's
Mr.
hear
Insight
it.
on this. I'm just spending my time in webinars and reading guidelines, and I'm also a member of the National Association of Theater Owners. So, I'm privy to a number of data and information that's out there. They're saying that by August 21st, that 20% of the theaters in the US will be open, and close to 76% will be open globally. The issue that we're dealing with is the two largest states, or the two most populous states or cities that matter, that have the deepest connection to entertainment, are not opening. We're talking about New York and LA. And a lot of people are holding back titles until those cities can be open. And I know the studios have been really clamoring to find out any new information about when they're going to be open. And right now California is it's just an I don't know, and that makes it hard for both of us. But you're right. I do want to go back to something real quick. We're both small business owners, and we're both proponents of independent cinema. And I think that there was an article that Oren Moverman was interviewed on. I'm not sure if you caught it. It was in Variety, but recently, this past week, The Guardian picked it up. And there is just this ongoing stream of negative publicity about the death of movie theaters, and now, after this Moverman article, the death of independent cinema. And perception is reality. And there is an echo chamber out there. And for all of us who love movies, we have to hold firm, not be chicken little, and know that we're coming back. And when we come back, like you said, it is going to be the hottest ticket in town because of decreased seat counts. And lastly, I also want to point out the VOD, the home experience, it needs to become a Cinelounge experience. And what I mean there is that the equipment that we have is simply not how the artists and filmmakers intended their story to be seen. And we're talking about, a lot of these virtual cinema PVOD releases, you're not dealing with the same sound mixes. You're dealing with a smaller screen. And for me, it's and even your seating and also how your attention gets splintered. I mean, Chris, I know you love movies, but how often have you your cell phone in your lap while you're watching a movie at home?
I hate to say this, but yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. Yeah, like there's a slow moment, and it's what can I do? But yeah, what the thing is about the theater, it's like that telling stories by the campfire, right? Like it's
Absolutely.
that kind of, that's the experience. And I want to, and the thing is this, what bothers me is that, people act like it can't happen. That I think it's just going to be hard to get through this. And I actually just think that staying in business is going to be a win after this year. Just remaining in business, which is why you have to buy your popcorn or go to your drive-in or virtual cinema or wherever it is to support small businesses like yours. You're not a chain like AMC. AMC can afford to. This whole filing bankruptcy with AMC seems like just BS to me. They just don't want to pay their rent. That's really what it's about. I mean, you have an understanding of what filing for bankruptcy is. It's bankruptcy protection, which basically just means they tell the bank, sorry, you're not getting your money, right? For small businesses like you and I, it's more of a struggle, just to what you've accomplished with this popcorn. I'm really, really just super, super impressed with the themes and the packaging, the graphic art, the fact that you worked yourself onto some of the packaging, I think is really hilarious.
Well, you need to have personalization. And I think
exactly.
you understand that. You have a brand, Chris, Film Threat, that you return to, and you are the personalization. You are the identity of Film Threat. Right, and right. I carry, an identity of a Cinelounge, and to have, I wanted to have that famous Amos type of vibe. I wanted you to know where it comes from, know the people behind it, but I also wanted to make each bag a call to action. You don't get that with Boom Chicka Pop or, some other blends you may find at a supermarket. It just genuinely helps a large pool of storytellers continue to tell these stories, because otherwise, I'm telling you, they will get shut out. They will get shut out because the corporate multiplexes, as I said earlier, do not view their films as theatrical releases if they are on a digital platform. And, that's a majority of Sundance films. The cream of the crop are coming out as day and date releases. So we have to embrace this community, and we do have to work together. So this popcorn does I ultimately want Cinelounge to thrive with popcorn money.
Well, I mean, they say that's where the profits are, but I'm curious, as a member of the National Association of Theater Owners, what insight can you give without betraying any kind of inside confidences? Or actually feel free to do that, because whatever. I mean, this is just I feel like I'm having an ongoing conversation with the listeners and the viewers of the Film Threat podcast. And I try to present to them things that I think are cool. And I think your popcorn is cool and you need to get it. Go to arenacinelounge.com, Google Arena Cinelounge, you'll find it. Christian Meoli.
And the more you buy, the more affordable each bag is.
Yeah, just get a case.
Get a case, really. Get a mixed case. We sell it across the country. I gotta tell you, sending out the popcorn to people all over the country is amazing to me. And I actually reached out to other independent theater owners, because I dropped the popcorn during Art House Convergence in Sundance, and everybody's so about their own popcorn. They don't understand how it could actually be helpful, because I have a theory that when theaters do open, some states might actually say you can't sell concessions, or you can only sell prepackaged.
But this is the thing, that not that you were thinking this when you first conceived it, but if you get a bag like this, it's prepackaged, no hands have touched it after it was created. It's fresh and it's got the use by date on it, that theaters could be packed with this. This is actually, I think you stumbled upon what's going to be the thing that you'll be able to get concessions. You can't do that thing. You can't do the thing with the big popcorn maker, and it just, I can just see problems with that. I'm not even anyone that knows anything, and that just seems like a disaster to me. This seems like the way to go. So if you're a theater owner and an independent theater owner, you're looking at getting back into business, this is a way to go. And I love that you have the pretzel thing, because I'm super stuck on those things. I can't.
Oh, Those are the best. I love that we mix it. Yeah.
I love those. But the thing is that what you've done, to put aside for a second, I want to get some insight from NATO.
NATO? Okay.
But yeah, like can you give me some insight on NATO and what you're looking at? Because some big movies are supposed to open this fall. I have been looking forward to Dune since I heard Denis Villeneuve was going to make Dune again.
It's still on the slate.
It's still on the slate, dude. It's not. I don't think it's going to come out in December. Everything's been pushed back. Sports is weird with no one in the stands. But like, what's your insight based on what you've heard within NATO?
Well, they certainly look. It was a gut punch with that AMC deal with Universal. Mulan, another setback, I believe. But what they're saying is that. Oh, this is what I want to point out. Only 10 films have essentially changed their plans. So the majority of films, we're talking about 40 plus films that were slated to open in theaters, are still planned to open in theaters. NATO's been wonderful. We have a big issue. The big issue is that the Texas Medical Association released this document that placed movie theaters as a high-risk indoor venue, comparable to bars. I do not agree with that. I am challenging that. There are experts you can read online. Mm-hmm. There is an infectious disease associate professor from UC Health Davis who wrote a great article about how movie theaters are not high-risk and should not be considered high-risk environments. One, we're all sitting in the same direction, so that decreases transmission risk. Two, we're not talking. We're not spreading the droplets. We're not talking during the film. And three, you've got this spatial distancing that's going to be in account. I mean, and I actually went to a fourth. I bought high-grade medical air purifiers to clean the air in the lobby in the theater every 15 minutes. So wow. I want the audience. I want the audience instead. You know when people used to go for the air condition, I want them to come to Cinelounge for the clean air.
Well, I love that there's even more of an incentive not to talk during the movie. Right? I like that. Yeah, don't talk during the movie. It disturbs the movie. Also, it increases the risk of spread. So look, the minute you open, I gotta come. I don't know what's going to be playing. I'll be there. The one thing I've liked about this period is I feel like because the studios have held on their releases, it's sort of diverted the oxygen to a lot of indie film releases, which I think is a positive. I think the problem
is like,
they're on fire.
IFC is on a fire this year.
IFC Midnight. I have from The Rental to there's a movie that's coming out called Rent-A-Pal with Will Wheaton. I cannot wait to talk to the director of that film. They have been on fire with The Wretched. They've just got, their lineup has just been amazing. And what's great is it's been really amazing. And they're perfect, like also outdoor cinema movies, which I think would be so cool. Cause I can't think of an outdoor cinema venue other than your Rooftop cinema. You're still doing the Rooftop cinema?
Yeah, actually we launched Rooftop this Friday.
Okay, cool. Where can people go to get tickets to Rooftop cinema?
They can go to themontalban.com. The Montalban are my strategic partners, and they have launched. So you can go there, and there are links. We're showing some classics. We're starting off with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, La La Land, and a lot of the outdoor fare that people just love to come see. And so that's getting started. Spatial distancing. We're gonna have just capacity at 96. But that's getting underway, and we got to get it going. I mean. I wanted to, before we go, I definitely wanted to say something else to you. You and I are places of discovery for new films. And that, to me, is the answer to the just numbing feeling of when I'm on a platform and I'm like, there's nothing on this platform. there's nothing. I'm in a zone now. I can't, but it's because I get like numbed out. But if you hear a great referral from Film Threat and Chris, or if you see a film that we're playing, that can lead you on to, I think, much the good content, the really great stories.
Well, I mean, it's the one thing that I've noticed about what you do with Arena Cinelounge is that you highly curate what's there, and I feel like we have very similar tastes, because it's like I say, it's the weirdest thing where I'll be talking to a filmmaker and you got the same movie playing at Arena Cinelounge like that weekend. It's very strange, that level of coincidence. Christian Meoli, I got to thank you for continuing the fight for movie theaters, especially for independent theaters. We need indie theaters. My mother, this is before I even started Film Threat, used to tell me, she said, don't go to the mall theater. Don't go to the mall movies. Go to the indie art houses. That's where you discover the great films. So I want to thank you just for staying in the fight. And I also want to thank Storyblocks. If you go to storyblocks.com/filmthread, and you are a filmmaker or a creator, you're on YouTube. If you go to storyblocks.com/filmthread, you'll get a deal for all sorts of tools. It's stock footage, audio, special effects. Up your game, take your indie film budget to a whole new level. Christian Meoli, thank you so much for joining us on the Film Threat podcast. It's we got to talk again as the season starts, because saving independent theaters is important to me. And if you go to arenacinelounge.com, pick up some popcorn, look at the schedule coming up. I'm hoping in a couple of weeks the outdoor venue's happening. Dude, like, look, if you told me that there's a place that we could write to or complain to, I really want to get proactive about this.
Can I give you one?
Yes, right now.
There's a campaign happening right now. It's a very important campaign for the survival of theaters. NATO is organizing a campaign called Save Our Cinema. So #Save Our Cinema. You can find it online. Maybe you can even pull it up, Chris, if you can. But basically, the good thing about NATO is they're in DC and they're talking to legislature about helping us to reopen and really help us to survive. And so, they have lobbyists up on Capitol Hill who are trying to pass something called the Restart Act. And fortunately, we were able, through, some of my drive as well, we were able to get Senator Kamala Harris got on board the bill. 51 senators have gotten on board the bill. Save Our Cinema might be, as NATO is saying, one of the most important initiatives.
Well, I'm going to put the link in the description here on the YouTube version of this, but Save Our Cinema. I'll make sure to, when we promote this episode on social media, I'll make sure to add the hashtag. And you do mean Kamala Harris, the Joe Biden's VP pick in the campaign for president.
Was it announced?
Yes, you didn't hear? Dude, vice president. Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Ow.
Biden Harris. Yeah, it's happening.
She got on board the Restart Act, and she helps with getting theaters, to a place where we can sustain and ride through this. That would be, phenomenal.
Well, yeah, dude, we have to do whatever it takes. And I do believe that surviving through this, I'm an optimist. I'm hopeful. I believe things will get better. And we have to do everything we can to support independent artists and especially independent theaters. Arena Cinelounge. I'm just going to keep saying it because I just really want people. I want people to check it out. At the very least, if you're not in the LA area, you can get the popcorn. Christian Meoli, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Storyblocks. Go to storyblocks.com/filmthreat. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Let's have you back to talk independent theaters, because I love when we'd have conversations, not on a podcast, but we've had some very frank conversations about this industry. It's a really bizarre industry. And I know that you do it for the love as much as I do. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris.